Welcome to Sex and Sensibility, a podcast about making sense of sex and relationships. I'm Mary Zoso, wholesome holistic sex coach.
I'm Wesley Fenza.
And I'm Gina.
So you might have noticed that we haven't put out an episode in a while. There's a reason for that. And Gina's going to tell us all about it.
Yes. This is inspired by a recent fun time I had where I ended up in the hospital for 4 days, actually, 3 nights. So if you were a paid subscriber to our podcast,
which only one of you is,
you would have heard some great content about in the last episode about my upcoming colonoscopy, which it was
really amazing content. I can't believe you guys all missed it.
It was actually pretty good. I sang a song. I mean, not related to the colonoscopy, although if you follow me on Twitter, I was writing songs about colonoscopies on Twitter. Anyway, so it was a whole thing. And so leading up to that, in the last podcast, I was talking about, really important things like how I hate lime jello and stuff like that. But I was generally not worried about anything going wrong with this very routine, I'm 45 now, colonoscopy. Like, I wasn't going to get this for any other reason than my general practitioner was like, oh, you're 45, gotta go get that scan done. And I was like, all right, fine. Anyway, I ended up aspirating under anesthesia. That's the sort of long story short, is that I aspirated under anesthesia.
Yeah, I went to pick her up and the doctor comes out to me after like an hour later than it was supposed to be. And it's like, you're going to have to take her to the ER.
Yeah. And the scene, that was what it was distilled to, Wes. It was a very epic, insane scene behind the wall there. I don't know how much of this story is particularly important to this podcast, because I got some bones to pick with that particular doctor who went out to very nonchalantly tell Wes that, you might want to take her to the ER. Yeah, she's not doing too hot. Because
and it was like, we could send her in an ambulance, but you're right here.
Yeah, they gave me the choice. And so here's the thing. When I was apparently coughing the entire time I was under anesthesia, which is weird enough. Everyone in there was convinced I was asthmatic and lying to them. I was not. It was a whole thing. All I remember is I went out under the anesthesia. When I woke up, I was coughing my head off, and they were like running me down the hall on this, gurney or whatever to go to the recovery room, wherein I wouldn't stop coughing. They gave me some kind of nebulizer thing. Long story short, I was just not getting oxygen. I was trying to breathe. I couldn't really very effectively without coughing and all that kind of stuff. And they started reading my, oxygen levels. And I was sort of in the low 90s, and this doctor kept being like, I think you're good to go home. That's a whole other thing. Thank goodness for nurses who were very not okay with that. So they kept me there and just trying to make sure what was going on. And they gave me the choice, the person who had not eaten in 2 days and was currently oxygen addled, like oxygen deprived. They're like, oh, do you want to take an ambulance, or do you want your husband to just take you? And I was just like, well, I guess it's okay for me not to need an ambulance.
But who the hell wants to ride in an ambulance?
I didn't want to. I wanted to go home, but I could tell things were not right. When I finally ended up, Wes drove me to the ER, and I had to walk from the parking lot to the front desk. That was very difficult. I had to keep taking breaks, doing all this kind of stuff. The place that I was at for the colonoscopy said they were going to call ahead. They didn't. So the ER was very confused about what was going on. When I finally went back to see triage, my oxygen levels were at 77%, which is like severe critical depletion.
Yeah, I just asked Claude what level of pulse ox needs immediate care. It says below 90% warrants immediate medical attention. 90 to
Yeah.
94% is concerning and needs prompt evaluation. So, yeah,
Yes.
she was at 77.
I was at 77 by the time triage saw me. And apparently, and I learned this later, my lips were blue and things like that. So once they saw all these things, they labeled me a severely hypoxic woman, which is a great phrase that I'm glad I've learned now because my bandmate had said that it sounded like a Victorian doctor diagnosed me with that when I wanted to vote. That's what it. So she's severely hypoxic woman wanting to vote to get involved in politics. You know.
But yeah, I think they were like radioing them to bring you like a wheelchair with an oxygen tank, and they were sort of trying to whisper it, but not really. And they were like, I have a severely hypoxic woman here.
When I told them, they're like, "How did you get here?" I was like, "He drove me," and they were like, "What?" Because they couldn't hide how horrified they were by this entire thing. So I was whisked right back.
It turns out she really should have gone in an ambulance.
Yeah.
But who knew?
Because they like threw me on oxygen, got me back there, got me all these x-rays and things like that. And so basically, when you aspirate during anesthesia, the thing that can happen is you get like instantaneous pneumonia. And so that's what happened to me. I got pretty extensive pneumonia.
I had no idea what aspiration was before this, which is apparently just like you breathe some of the wrong stuff into your lungs.
Yeah, it's basically when you're under anesthesia, your body, and you start coughing and stuff, your body doesn't have the same defenses. Like when we say like, oh, I got something down the wrong pipe. When you're conscious and that happens, you just like cough it up and you don't end up with pneumonia. But when you don't have those reflexes and stuff because you're out, this is apparently what happens. And so I spent the next 3 nights in not intensive care, but the next thing to it. I don't remember what it was, something called like PCU or something like that. Not that movie. But the
not the movie.
But it was, so I was in this intensive care unit for 3 nights, and that had its own host of joys and fun that went with that. But I was taken care of. My life was saved. I was. It's been sinking in for the last week how close I came to dying, and like that's a lot to deal with. I was pretty lucky, I guess, that over the last several months, I've gotten into a gym habit with Wes. So like Wes and I started going to the gym together like 2 to 3 times a week. And I've been eating better and like, losing some weight and things just from eating better and exercising and stuff. So it happened that I was in the best shape of my life when this happened. And I'm pretty sure that is why I made it to the ER and was like conscious and very lucid. Like I was very surprised that they told me I was at 77% because I was answering questions and not feeling dizzy exactly. I was just feeling kind of like breathless. So I think I had a very high level of fitness before all this happened. That got me through this. And the fact that, I'm doing a podcast today and I was discharged a week ago.
Yeah. And it was really funny that everyone like at the endo center and at the ER and later in the hospital kept asking her, were you asthmatic or like assuming she had some kind of breathing problems before this? Because you want to tell them what you were doing that Tuesday?
So the prep started on Wednesday. The Tuesday night, before all of that, I had a very usual Tuesday evening for me.
Oh yeah, so first you worked a full day.
I worked a full day. Then I went to the gym. Then we decided on a whim to go to the Home Depot and get stuff for the garden. So I had my own list of stuff. So I went and loaded a cart with 6 bags of mulch and 12 paving stones by myself. Then I pushed those to my car, loaded all that stuff into the car by myself, drove it home, unloaded it by myself. And then...
And those things are not light.
No, the concrete bricks that I got were probably, I mean, they were probably 10 pounds a piece, I think. And then I went to a band rehearsal where the thing that I was starting out with was singing Janis Joplin's Piece of My Heart like I was Janis Joplin. So just like wailing on the song. So when they kept asking me about being asthmatic and like having lung issues, I was like, guys, you gotta believe me on this one. This is entirely because of you that this happened to me. The only thing I could guess is that I had some kind of acid reflux or something. I mean, the colonoscopy prep is pretty brutal. I followed it to the letter. I hadn't, and also the other thing is they didn't even take me back there. So I stopped drinking and anything at 7:30 that morning on Thursday. And they didn't wheel me back to the operation room until 2 p.m. So like, I don't know what you guys want from me, and so they kind of wanted to try to make it like I must have done something. And I was like, I didn't, guys.
So I just looked it up. Those paving stones are 22.4 pounds each.
Those cement bricks I got?
Yes.
So yeah, that's what I was doing the day before. And I was not winded in the least. And in fact, I was like, man, I'm in good shape. Good thing. If this was a year ago, I don't know how well I would have made it through that, other than...
Yeah, they probably would have put you in an ambulance.
They probably would have put me in an ambulance. Maybe that's the problem. I seemed too on the ball, and they were like, dude, surely this pulse ox just isn't working.
You're fine.
You're fine. And there's more. There's like more sort of details about it, but like I have a shit list with exactly one doctor on it, and I don't know his name. I have to figure out that name. But the guy like called me the next day. Like I'm sitting there in intensive care, and he's like, the first nurses from that facility called me because that's just kind of what they do. But they also were aware of the.
They're like, hey, you still alive?
Yeah, they're like, how you doing? I was like, oh, well, I'm in the hospital. I'm not great, actually. I'm on the high flow, Big Daddy oxygen machine, which apparently, gives me 25 liters of oxygen. I mean, I was like just being infused with oxygen.
Wait, is that what it was actually called?
No, it had some stupid name. I really wish.
The high flow Big Daddy.
Like Flojo. Like, no, it was not. Yeah. It was called like the fire or something like weird. And I was like, okay, so oxygen is flammable. I feel like it's weird that you have fire in the name. Whatever. So no Big Daddy, but that's what it will always be in my heart. And then, so the nurses called me and I told them, I'm like, hey, by the time I got to I told them about what happened at triage. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, we're not in like Cannibal the Musical. Like, yep. And I'm like, all right, well, yes, you were right. Good on you. And then like a few minutes later, I get off the phone and this dude calls me and he's like, I just called to check up on you. And also I wanted to basically, he was disagreeing with the hospital's diagnosis of pneumonia based on nothing except he was like, I wrote a paper on this 4 years ago. And I'm like, God, I can't. And it was like this very weird thing where I've gotten into the habit, especially with doctors and stuff, of trying to like lead with this idea that I am a chemist. And I go, okay, I'm a chemist, I'm a scientist, I need you to talk to me like that. I want data, and I want to feel like you know what you're talking about and that you're talking to an equal. I need that. Because my experience with like pregnancy and stuff was very different than this. And I was just like, guys, you got to tell me what's going on. Stop with this. But what I'm finding is now when I do that, it changes the dynamic in a way I didn't expect, which turns into this sort of like, the best way to put it is like two scientists shooting the shit about, my whole situation. And I was like, this is not what I want right now. I'm not a doctor. But he called me and
I want to like hang out.
Yeah, they want to like hang and like chat. And these are supposed to be professionals who know way more about it than me. And when I start talking to them about this, I get the sincere feeling that they do not know what they're talking about in the way I think they should, because their like guard goes down. So this guy sat there, and I did the same shtick, because he was like, well, I think you have something else. Do you want to hear about it? I'm like, yeah, I mean, sure, you can talk to me about it. I'm a scientist. And he goes, oh, great, you're a scientist, you get it. And he goes into this whole thing about what he thinks the diagnosis is. And the convenient thing here is that his diagnosis would mean that I would be fine in a day.
That would be convenient.
If it was pneumonia, he said, I mean, it'll be like weeks before you're like 100%. I was like, okay. So I guess we'll find out when I'm not okay, and, more than a day. And he's like, I wrote a paper about this, and, it's indistinguishable from, pneumonia on an x-ray. So there's no way anyone could know whether it was this thing or not. And he was trying to tell me, he's like, I think you have a pretty good case to go home today, which is, of course, what I wanted to hear. I didn't want to be there. But at first, I got off the phone. I was like, well, he thinks it's something else and thinks I can go home today. And Wes and I were both kind of like, well, I mean, that sounds nice. But, the doctors at the hospital were pretty adamant that I not go home that day. I didn't try, but they started that day with being like, yeah, you have extensive pneumonia, so you're going to be here at least one more night. And it turned into 2 more. But in the end, they were able to taper me off of the supplemental oxygen and all that over basically a couple of days. And I was able to come home on Sunday. And I kind of thought I was going to be fine. Like I was going to be immediately fine. Like once I could get off of oxygen, I was like, oh, well, now I'm great. But this is like a thing I've never dealt with this type of ailment before. And for like 3 days, I like couldn't really talk that much. And I was coughing all the time. My oxygen was low. I was getting headaches, all these different things like that. I ended up taking them up, the hospital up on this remote monitoring thing, which was good because they cleared me after one night of it, but it was pretty stressful. And I feel like the entire medical establishment, their actual, what they think is service is like stressing you out. They're like,
yeah, that was the thing I noticed throughout this whole thing is like, there's really nobody's incentivizing anyone in the medical field to like not be high anxiety. Yeah. Everything is like, oh, and you got to check this, and oh man, it might be so much worse, and let's hook you to all these machines and like do what we say. And I feel like, they sort of do a token effort to be like, how are you feeling? But really it's like, no, we got to do this thing. And, it's just, we're keeping you safe. So we have to do it. And there's no negotiation or anything. It's like, this is what's happening.
It seems like their version of trying to not stress you out is just not telling you what's going on.
Yeah, that too.
Which actually has the opposite effect usually.
A great example of this was on my second full day. So in the morning, they were like, you're not going home until hopefully tomorrow. But they weren't even saying that. Like the one doctor it was on Saturday, and he was just like, we think you need to stay here a day or two more. And I was like, a day or two? Are you kidding me? Like, come on, I need to get out of here. And he was like, yeah, we need to taper you off this oxygen. And there was no timeline for how that was going to be done. And so during the day, I'm sitting there and I was doing my own research. I was doing my own experiments where I was taking the oxygen off to see how I was doing with that. I was doing okay. But at some point, the nurse comes in at like 3 p.m. or something on Saturday, and Wes is there, and he goes, can you tell us what the plan is with the tapering off of the oxygen? Because when is that going to happen?
My question was just what are we looking at to know when it's time to go home, or when it's what are the indicators we're looking for? And the nurse was like, oh, well, we're going to we're tapering her off the oxygen. And I'm like, yeah, are we going to start that? Because they said that yesterday.
Yeah. So then she says, oh, I've been doing that all day. And so I had started, because they had moved me from the Big Daddy machine to the Little Daddy machine. And I was at 5 liters or whatever on this regular machine. And she goes, oh yeah, we've been doing that all day. You're down at 2 now. And I'm like, well, that's very hopeful to me. 2 is kind of your bare minimum of oxygen supplementation. And
yeah, and it was like, oh, that's great. She's getting better.
I was like, oh, I've been up at doing good on that. And the nurse says, oh, so I usually don't tell people that I'm doing that because they get really freaked that I'm taking their oxygen away. And I go, I get that, but you already know that I very much want to go home, and I need to know if I need an oxygen tank. The entire thing that's going to let me go home is if I can get off this freaking oxygen. And she's like, okay, well, I'll let you know. Yeah, so we're doing that. And now that we're doing that, you can with me knowing, you can take the oxygen off and see how you do. So I started taking an hour where I would do it, and, things like that. But this is what I mean. I'm just okay, I try to set us up for communication success here. I'm a scientist and I want to go home. So I know that there are certain data points I need to hit before I go. And am I working towards that or not? Because otherwise I'm just sitting here in a bed watching Great British Bake Off and hoping that I can go home. So that was, and then it took forever to get out of the hospital. They kind of cleared me to go at 9 a.m. I don't think we walked out of there until 1.
Yeah, it was many hours.
Just bureaucracy. And I don't even know what they were doing. It's just there's one doctor and they have to wander around and they'll get to you at some point. And I'm just but the other the pulmonologist already said I was good to go. Why? God, just let me go. But then when I was home, then, I don't know if I'm able to tell how well I'm doing with this. So yeah, I let them remote monitor me for a day, and all that. And so now here I am, with that whole story, and I can't sing, which is a really weird, thing. I can sing a little bit more than I could yesterday and the day before that. It's happening, but I have a gig in a couple of weeks. So I'm just really like to not be at, 50% for that if I can help it. So I have to start working on that.
And it's really sad because singing is such a big part of your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys know this. The intro and outro music is Gina's band.
Yeah. You don't hear me singing on what we have there, but it's real good. And I actually
real good.
have developed kind of a powerhouse singing ability over the last, couple of years. And so it's just taken away from me right now. And yesterday we were driving around and this I call 60s schlock came on, and I was doing I was okay, I'm going to try to sing the one part of it. And I could do it, albeit kind of quietly and stuff. But after I did this, and I think this is 30 seconds of singing with some kind of supported breath. My chest was tight. I was like, oh no, I need to stop that. That was, Jesus. Okay, this is going to be a process, is what I didn't realize it was going to be. And that's really hard because, I kind of like sing to myself all the time. And, Wes and I wander around doing either just singing songs or like parodying songs or all this. It's just a very big part of my life. And so that's weird to not have that at full capacity.
She normally sings a lot.
A lot.
Yeah. And like I can play the guitar, although it does take stuff out of me. But a lot of times when I play guitar and I kind of just like, I write stuff, and I can't do that right now.
But this all happened, what was it? So today's Monday, so it would have been like 10 days ago?
Yeah, it all started on Thursday the 14th.
Yeah, and we waited to podcast till now because you couldn't talk for this long.
No, we had
a couple of days ago.
Yeah, so on this past Friday, we had like a dinner party, and I talked so much, and it was so like I just sat at my kitchen table, and people would like come over and sit down, and I just yapped so much because I could, and then I was like, there's so much to say. Obviously, I've been talking quite a lot right now, but and I was like spent after the I could do it, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna be pretty tired tomorrow, and I was, but. It's coming back. I think I'm going to bounce back. I think I'm bouncing back pretty quickly, given what I just went through. Yeah, and also this apparently healing from this stuff is not linear, so I can't be sure that like tomorrow I'll be worse off than I was today. But I'm pretty sure like my lungs seem to, in terms of like oxygen, seem to be in a linear progression. So like I measure it in the morning, and I'm like, all right, So on this past Monday, like a week ago, my like sitting around the house oxygen was like 94 or 95. This morning it was 98. So, and you're supposed to be at 99, 100, generally speaking. So, that's the important thing. And I just have to kind of do exercises and kind of like physical therapy on myself to like get breathing back. So I go back to work tomorrow, which is, going to be a interesting thing. I took the whole week off. And
originally you were planning on going back on like
Tuesday.
Yeah.
I thought, God, thank goodness everybody talked some sense into me. I was like, I mean, including my job. So I'm very lucky. I work for a very sort of strange place in a lot of ways. But one thing about them is that it is a family company, and that has a lot of some pitfalls that go with that. But on the other side of that is that it's actually a family company. Like everybody who works there, even if you're not related to them, kind of gets brought into the family and is cared for in that way. So that kind of leads us into what this whole episode is really going to be about, which is about support.
Yeah, and that's the reason I wanted to talk about this on the podcast, is because I wanted to talk about support systems.
Because, man, this would have been even more of a nightmare had I not sort of cultivated and been blessed with a really amazing support system in multiple facets of my life here. So
yeah, and that is just like what this has left both of us. We're just really thankful for the support system we have, mostly because one of the hospital policies is that children are not allowed in the hospital at all,
especially in the unit that I was in. And I did get a somewhat reasonable explanation as to why that is, at least in the unit I was in. Because they had some policies that were both, first they were like, no overnight guests, which was pretty harsh. They were like, you can only have overnight guests if you're in critical condition or dying. And I was like, well, a few days ago, whatever. But, I needed Wes to be there more than not, because as I said, I have a really hard time being a pain in the ass. Like I kind of give up on, I don't agitate. It's really hard. It takes a lot of energy for me to do that. And I was trying to
breathe,
not be stressed. Yeah. And so I need Wes there. We always put this as the every Hufflepuff needs a Slytherin. That that in modern parlance.
She did a disagreeable husband there to talk to the doctors and be like, okay, what's going on? What are we doing? Yeah. What does that mean?
Who didn't care if he was pissing people off? Like I did. So,
but also she just needed me there.
Yeah, I needed to not be
so
alone.
she wasn't alone.
Yeah, it was, and generally speaking, he was able to be there. But then, they said the kids policy is like kids under 12. It's that there's a lot of pretty nasty diseases that end up in that unit that kids get, that if kids are exposed to them, they won't handle it as well as like an adult would. And I went, okay, well, that's about her safety as opposed to like, this kid is annoying and we don't want to, I thought it was about that. And I went, well, I
still think it's kind of about that.
Well, I couldn't in good conscience let, Roxy be exposed to a bunch of crazy stuff. So I was like,
they did, and they did let her in the first day when we just came into the ER and they like brought her up to the hospital.
Yeah, they were clearly not happy about it, but they didn't like just kick her out. But
then for the rest of the 3 days, somebody needed to watch her, and if it had to be me, that means I couldn't be at the hospital.
Yeah.
So we had incredible friends who watched her for a while. My mother watched her other times and stayed over at our house to watch her. My brother came over and helped. And it was really a team effort.
Yeah, MVPs.
And they like took her to her activities and stuff.
Yeah, our friends took her to this, like Roxy is in a parkour class that she loved. and we were able, and she was really sad because on Thursday she was supposed to go to that, and we had big plans that she was going to go to that because I was totally going to just go get a colonoscopy. We're going to go eat afterwards, and then we'd be fine. But we were at the ER instead, and she didn't really realize it until it was like 7 p.m. She's like, "When are we going to parkour?" And Wes is like, "Oh, we had to miss it because of this." And she was so sad, and I felt so bad because I was like on the way to the ER. I'm like, I feel really bad she's not going to our class. Like I cared about that. But they had another class on Friday, and our friends took her to that. And then they took her to like the open gym thing on Saturday. It was just like really amazing. They just came and took care of her and did all this stuff. And my in-laws, best family I could have found, because my half of the family was not involved in all of that. So I don't know what we would have done. I mean, I guess I would have been by myself.
Yeah, if I had to watch Roxy, I just couldn't have been there with you.
Yeah. And the other stuff was, so that was the people who were like physically present to be able to help us with like the logistics and all that. But then, I had multiple text chains with all of the other people who were like very concerned and interested in what was going on with me. And I was able to like have this connection to my friend. And so I know that's like really in vogue for a lot of people to hate phones and stuff. It's like, oh, they're ruining our lives. I'm just like, man, I was able to keep all these people updated who were really interested in being updated on it. Like I was talking to Zari all the time. I was talking to my family. I was like talking to my band. Like I was sitting there and they were all right there. Even though they weren't like knocking down the door to come hang out at the hospital. I didn't need that. I needed to be able to be like, this is happening and it's insane. And just have people to be like, this is insane. Because it was. And to have to be able to like process that with a few different people. Like I obviously I'm a very chatty person, and
you
I just needed to be able to be like, check out this insane thing that just happened to me, Even in the ER, I was like waiting for triage, and I was my bandmates were making jokes about how I was going to write songs after being like on anesthesia. And I was like, so here's the thing. I'm at the ER right now. They were like, what? Oh my God. So, it's just, I don't know. I guess in the old days, just no one would know what was going on, ever. But it was really good for me to be able to like send that out and be like,
yeah. And it's not like I could be there the whole time. I still had to leave for, pretty significant amounts of time. One of the nights they didn't even let me stay there.
Yeah. So I wasn't alone because I could, text with people and have them text me back and know that people knew where I was and how I was doing and all that kind of stuff. And so I feel really lucky. I feel kind of unlucky for it happening, but if it had to happen to me, it went about as well as it could have because of the support that we had, really.
Now, Mary, you had some things you wanted to say about support systems.
Yeah. I think it's really awesome when people have support. And I think a lot of people talk about, how great it is that they have all this support and they're very grateful. And then other people are like, but I want that support. I don't have that kind of support. And I think it's important to kind of recognize how much support you do or do not have, because that affects how you want to behave in the world. For example, if you don't have support, it's a good idea to be pretty self-reliant. People talk about self-reliance being bad, but sometimes you need that. Like I was in a kind of slightly parallel situation when right after I gave birth, I was losing too much blood and I passed out from blood loss, had to go to the hospital in an ambulance. I did not have
an ambulance.
Yes.
That's how you're supposed to go to the hospital.
Yeah. I lost a ton of blood, had to get emergency surgery. I was there at the hospital with no family support. My husband did not come. They sent the baby in. So I was also in charge of the baby while I was getting surgery and had lost massive amounts of blood. I had to get a blood transfusion and stuff. And I was there overnight and they forgot to give me the blood transfusion. And so I had to advocate and be like, hey, am I supposed to get a blood transfusion? Also, the doctor hated home births and midwives. And so she, ordered that I was not allowed to eat or drink anything at all. No ice cubes, no nothing. So
what?
And all the nurses were like, this is really weird. let me call her again. And they just couldn't get through to the doctor. And the next day, the doctor saw me and I felt so much better after they finally gave me the transfusion. But she was so relieved. She was like, I didn't think you were going to make it. So
Jesus.
So it's good that I have these self-reliant, abilities. Now I was extremely out of it and I was not doing a good job of taking care of this baby that had just been born because I just couldn't. And nobody was holding her or reminding me that I should try to feed her or anything like that. So it was not a great situation at all. But the self-reliance served me really well there. And I think that is it's a good skill to have if you need it. And I guess it's a good idea to be able to recognize what support you do have and what support you don't have. And so
true. There's nothing worse than relying on an unreliable person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very lucky with that as well. I have very reliable people.
And I think we're very discerning about that.
Yes.
We know who's reliable and who isn't.
Yes.
Yeah. And so how do you know?
I mean, I always find it pretty obvious because people will say they're going to do things and then they don't do them. Mm-hmm. And then I just mentally classify them as unreliable.
Yeah, this isn't a wide net we cast here. This is the friends who came through for us. It's because we've spent a lot of time kind of intertwined. They're neighbors of ours. And like,
They moved to our town.
They did.
Because we live here.
Because they like us. But they, generally speaking, over the last, couple of years of our friendship, when they're like, we're going to do this thing, and then they do it. So generally,
we hang out with them all the time and make plans with them all the time, and they just like do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah.
So when we were like, we need someone to help out, that's who we called.
Mm-hmm. And like
I have a bunch of other friends who are in that sort of unreliable bucket. And I'm like, I don't need my friends to be reliable. I just need to know.
Yeah.
So I don't make plans with them that I'm going to be upset if they cancel or don't show up or something.
Yeah.
And I don't ask them to watch my child.
Yeah. Like they've babysat Roxy too. So it's like they have kind of that established connection with her. But yes, it's generally evidence-based. When you make plans with somebody, do they do what they said they were going to do? Yes, great.
But I think I always find it pretty obvious when you know reliable people to then recognize unreliable people. I think when it's hard, what gets hard for people is when they don't know any reliable people.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's like different kinds of reliable. Like there's like they say they're going to do something and then they do it. But then there's like they say they're going to do something and then they do it, and then later on they make you pay for it in some way that was not made clear.
So to me, that's reliable. It's just, there's a whole different thing going on there.
Yes, there's a cost to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, so that kind of like brings me to the second point. Like it is good to accept help when you're in a supportive environment.
Gina.
I did.
You did. For once.
So yeah, like the self-reliance is not beneficial to it's good to have, but it's not good to use it when you don't need it.
Yeah, it's a skill, and having skills is generally a good thing.
Yeah.
But you don't always have to apply those skills in every situation where you could apply them.
Yeah.
Incidentally, if Wes wasn't there, I would have been able to advocate for myself. It's like a thing. It's not something I like to do when it's difficult and when people are making it hard. But I can, and I think Mary and I have a similar. Some similarities to our upbringing that make us very self-reliant and being like, I can just do it, okay? I can do it. You don't need to do anything for me. It's not worth it. And I've had to kind of unlearn that, much to your point. That's why Wes was making that joke. It's like, Gina, it's like, yes, I have a hard time accepting asking for help, but accepting when people are like, hey, I can help you with this. And I'm like, no, you don't have to do that. In this case, I very much required it. And I was just like, all right, everybody who wants to do something for me, do it. Because I just can't, I couldn't do anything.
I was mostly in charge of asking people to do stuff.
Yes.
He was logistics man. Yes.
Which I didn't have a problem with, because I was like, what I want to do is stay here at the hospital with Gina. And I cannot do that unless other people do stuff for me. So I will ask them to do that. I literally cannot be in both places. So
because you are the best husband ever.
Yes. I've told him that a few times. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, whatever.
I mean, I'm just like, wouldn't anyone do that?
Apparently not.
No, and you know it.
Yeah, it was weird how the hospital just seemed. Everyone seemed surprised that I wanted to stay overnight with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, doesn't everybody want to do that? What is shouldn't that be a thing that you're used to talking about with people?
Yeah, they seemed very confused by the
entire thing. But they were confused, nobody quite knew the policy, and different people had different policies about it.
Because you must be some kind of pervert.
You're trying to control your wife. Yeah, I don't know what it was.
I got to stay there and make sure she doesn't say anything untoward.
Oh God. Anyway, I could talk for an hour about other stuff where they were, I told them I lost like 10 pounds over the course of a year, and they sent a nutritionist to come make sure I wasn't like bulimic or something. I'm like, come on.
They definitely had like a nutritionist who was clearly like probing for eating disorders.
Yeah.
Because they checked the box that said unintentional weight loss.
Yeah,
and we're like, no, but this was over like a year and a half, and it was 10 pounds.
Yeah,
it's 10 pounds, and I did it by starting to go to the gym and eating better food in smaller quantities. So
that's some hardcore stuff there.
I did it to address my high blood pressure that I have going on. And the nutritionist was like, oh, yeah, okay. I'm not worried about you. I was like, nor should you be. I was like, I think if I had an eating disorder, I would not be in such good shape to have this conversation with you.
I still think this was just a way to justify the nutritionist's salary. Where they're like, okay, anyone who ever says any weight loss happened, we send up the nutritionist because we have one. And what's she going to do? Sit around in her office all day?
I was just waiting for her to just tell me to eat more salmon. That's what nutritionists, that's what all nutritionists tell me. They're like, oh, you can eat more salmon. I'm like, oh, okay.
So we get to that place where we're overly self-reliant by being around people who give us support that is not very safe.
Well, how do you know if it's safe?
Well, some red flags, some indications that it's not very safe are if there are those hidden strings and agendas, like, they do something for you and then they hold it over your head and say, oh, well, you owe me because I did that other thing for you, kind of thing. So something that would indicate that it is safer is if the reciprocation is explicit. If you ask someone to help you move, for example, and they're like, will you give me $20? Then, it's explicit. So you can say yes or no. But then you have this kind of reciprocated support.
I'm sorry, union rules mandate that payment for helping move is pizza and beer.
Or that, okay.
When you're in your 20s, otherwise hire somebody to move.
Yeah. That's also in the union, retirement at age 30.
You can also help make sure that it's safe by not pressuring them. So if you are pressuring them to support you, then they're not giving it freely. And that's where resentment comes up. And then later on, they're telling you that you owe them something because they didn't really want to support you. So safe support is support that is freely given just because they care.
Right.
Or for payment.
Or for something explicit. Yeah. You got to help me move, next time I move.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that as long as they are upfront about this is what I want.
Yeah. Exactly.
In return.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things that occurred to me about this is that non-monogamy can make this type of situation easier or harder, depending on how you're doing it. In this case, Mary, if you had been in town, this would have been so much easier.
Oh, I would have been, all over that.
Yeah.
I would have been like, I can take care of Roxy. I can do whatever you need. I'll take care of the house. I'll feed the dog, whatever you need.
Yeah. We could have just had you at the house with Roxy. Taking care of anything that you need to be taken care of there. Or I could have left you with Gina while I had to go do something.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt I was just so tortured not being able to do anything. Yeah. I wanted to help so bad.
But you made me cards. She made me this awesome. Oh, I have to find it. It had an otter pun in it. It was really good. But yes, you checked in on me, every morning and things like that. And that was very helpful. And I realize it didn't seem like that to you, but it was. That's what I mean. I had support from all around, and like I didn't really, the logistics and stuff were being handled, luckily. But yeah, had you actually been here, like this, the complexity of this would have gone down to zero, basically. Which is not a situation we would have had, 15 years ago when we were in a different polycule situation back then. And I think you're getting where it could make it harder. Back then, a lot of our partners were sort of, they were all very unreliable. And even if they said they could do something, somehow they would all find whatever their dysfunction was and be unable to come through in a way that then required us to have to solve a problem for them. Luckily, none of us were in the hospital when that was happening, and we didn't have a kid to worry about at the time. But that's kind of that to me, that's one of the main difficulties, is that you're like, okay, I have this supposed support system, but it's not one. It's like a showy one. But when you're like, okay, I need you to come and I need you to go rent a car and do X, Y, and Z. Like none of them could do that. Like I have multiple examples of things where I had to leave work to go rent a U-Haul, to go pick these people up and then go handle something and then handle the whole thing by myself. And the only support I had was that they came with me to do it.
Unreliable people.
Very unreliable people. I had to go take an extra day off of work once because our dog got arrested. She got out, got in a fight in front of a police station and got taken to the pound. And I get this call and the guy's like,
"Is this your dog?" Excuse me, ma'am, is this your dog?
She's gonna, you can't come get her now. She's gonna spend the night comfortable in the clink, basically.
She's spending the night in a drunk tank.
And at the time, there was a partner here who wasn't working and all this kind of stuff, but she also couldn't drive. She couldn't do anything really that would be helpful here. And so I had to take an extra day off of work to go do this and then bring the dog home. And then I had to get a bunch of quotes for the replacement fences and stuff. It was this was in my my early 30s. And it was the most adult I'd ever felt because I was getting comparative quotes for vinyl fencing. And I gave this person one job, which was, can you keep an eye on the dog while I'm fixing this hole so that the dog doesn't get out while I'm doing that? And she could not do that. She goes, I'll totally do that. And then she got distracted and the dog was in the neighbor's yard in 5 minutes. So this is the kind of thing. So they were people that we could not rely on.
So one way non-monogamy can make this sort of thing harder is having unreliable partners that nonetheless expect to be part of your support system, or that you expect to be part of your support system, and they just can't do it. Another way is that there's more demands on your time and your attention when you're non-monogamous and have other partners. And
is that necessarily true?
No, not necessarily, but there are more people involved. So it's certainly, there's a complexity penalty. And and the way some people do it is much more rigid. Then I've seen there was some, I don't remember exactly what it said, but there was some viral tweet going around about some woman who I think had something happen to her, but her husband was like, sorry, that's my other partner's night. And she kind of had to deal with it herself.
Come on.
Yeah. And people get, it can get very possessive of the time and attention that they have. And that's like, I hope doesn't happen that often, but it's certainly something that can happen.
Good Lord. I mean, it's like fine. If like something happened, like, oh man, I like tripped on the curb on my way home and my foot hurts. Like that's one thing. But like if you got mugged on the way home or like had to go to the hospital or something, like anyway, I would hope that that's not the deal with people. But I've also known people, so I could actually envision a few former partners being that way.
I can definitely envision that.
But like that's something that can happen even in good relationships when it's something that's not quite as dire as you being in the hospital.
Right.
Which is like, oh, something happened and I need somebody, but my partner's busy with another partner. And it's not like a big emergency, so I'm not going to ask him to not do that. And that's just something that like is sort of inherent to non-monogamy. And
can happen in monogamy too. Like your partner can be busy with, I don't know, video games or
with a friend.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's just kind of
very true.
The issue with just having close relationships with anybody that you want to spend time. And especially if those relationships aren't all kind of integrated too, in our case, yes, it would have been completely not a problem because like, like Mary, Wes and I are all like very entwined in a lot of ways. And so
we even host a podcast together.
We do. And it's kind of like, well, yeah, obviously this is like, we're in each other's lives. We're part of each other's family. And we're very excited because soon Mary is going to be actually living near us, like really near us. So we can be her support system.
Yeah, because right now I don't have one here.
Yeah. That was actually my first question when I was like, we could do this as a topic on the podcast. I was like, but will that be too sad for you? Because you don't really have a support system. Like, do you want to talk about that? But she was like, no, it's fine. I have thoughts that I want to share.
Yeah. Like how being self-reliant can come in handy when you don't have support.
But you will soon.
Yeah.
Yes. And we're excited about being that. And also, we're some of the most reliable people you'll ever meet in your life. I only boast about it because it's sort of rare. And I'm just like, are we the weirdos? I guess we're the weirdos. But
I am also weirdly reliable in that way.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, Mary, also, I wanted to ask you specifically about what is the difference and how do you recognize the difference between having like a mutually supportive relationship and codependence? Because I think a lot of people, when they're being codependent, think they're just being supportive, or when they, ask for, or when they want like codependent things, they think they're just what they want is to be supported, and that's all.
I think a lot of it comes up. So as far as relying on support, the main kind of codependence thing, it's like if you're pressuring them, that's kind of codependent. If you're trying to guilt them into supporting you, that's kind of codependent. If you are just completely helpless, if you can't have the thing, if you're kind of like, oh no, I'm a victim, nobody's supporting me, then you're, that's not very healthy. But a lot of it also comes from the people giving the support in codependent ways. So it's in general not a good idea to give support that you don't want to give. If you're not doing it willingly because you want to, or because you have explicitly negotiated a price or an exchange of some sort, then it's not a good idea. You don't want to give into that pressure if someone is pressuring you. Because that's the kind of thing that leads to resentment. And if you find yourself being supportive and then resenting it later, then you're probably doing it codependently. And if you find yourself being supportive and then demanding something in return that was not negotiated ahead of time, then you were probably acting codependently. So the mutual support that is healthy is given freely. And sometimes we don't, sometimes we think we're giving it freely. And then later on, when we don't have the support we want, we realize like, oh, maybe I did have some strings or some expectations that I didn't even realize. And that's a good wake up call, because then you can be like, okay, maybe I want to be more careful about how much energy I put into supporting other people in the future. So that's kind of the difference, I think.
That makes sense. I mean, I think the freely given thing is pretty key there. I think a lot of us have done stuff where we sort of felt obligated to do it. And, you know, we're sort of encouraged to do that by society. That's like, that's what you do in a family or whatever, you know, all that kind of stuff. But, you know, when you're trying to have a really healthy relationships, it's like, I'm doing this because I very much care about the outcome of this and that you're okay.
So what would you say to someone who provided support to a partner, or a friend, or a family member, and then didn't receive any support when they needed it, and was upset about that?
That is good information to have. That if they are upset about it just because they didn't get support, then that's, you know, it's upsetting when you think you were going to get support and you didn't. If they were upset about it because they gave this support and it wasn't reciprocated, then that's good to notice that maybe they were, you know, giving support that they didn't really want to be giving. And I guess Wes, I was going to ask you, because you're very into people not feeling entitled and stuff like that. But kind of what's the difference between like feeling secure about receiving support? Because you seem pretty secure about receiving support. You've had a lot of support in your life, and you kind of like just know it's going to be there. What's the difference between that and feeling entitled to support?
The difference is if you think it's owed to you or not. That, you know, I'm comfortable asking support, but I'm also comfortable with people saying no, and saying I'm just not willing to do that right now, and being okay with that. And, you know, not that it would never be upsetting, or it wouldn't bother me. And not that I wouldn't like factor that into future decisions about like how close I want to be with this person, or like what kind of relationship I want to have. But it's not something that I ever feel like they ought to do for me, right? That it's like they're bad people if they don't, or they're like have some kind of moral obligation to do it.
So what would have been your reaction if in this thing with Gina, if everybody, like your whole family, friends, everybody was like, nope, can't do it?
Well, I would have been really disappointed and surprised, and upset, because I thought, I would have thought that the relationships I had with these people would have led them to make different decisions. But I think I mostly just would have been sad.
That makes sense.
I think it also would have been exceptionally confusing, because the people that we asked about this, have a very extensive years-long track record of freely giving support to us, and
often make it explicit that they're available if we need things.
Yeah, so I mean that would have been shocking. And we weren't talking about my family, so which would have been very different.
Yeah,
I would have gotten a pineapple in the mail or something.
But like with our friends that really came through, like I would have been totally fine if they were like, we'll go, pick her up at this one thing, but I don't want to like be driving all over the place, taking her to her activities and stuff. I would have been like, okay, that's totally reasonable. Like of course you don't have to do that. And maybe I can find somebody else to do that, or if not, I can do it. I really don't think anyone really had to do any of this for us, which is, one of the big reasons why I ended up feeling so grateful.
Yeah. Is gratitude a key part of it? Like if you're grateful enough, then does that mean you're not entitled?
I think it's an indication that if you're feeling gratitude, it's an indication that you didn't feel entitled in the first place. Because I think when you do feel entitled and you my experience is getting something I feel entitled to doesn't make me feel gratitude. It makes me feel like a sense of justice or like, that all is right with the world, and which is very different from how I feel when someone does something for me that I feel like they didn't need to do. I feel like just like lucky and grateful.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who don't feel secure about receiving support, sometimes part of it is they're afraid of like just being entitled and or being seen as entitled or something. And sometimes that like occurs to me, like if I just like easily accept support, like that must mean I'm entitled or something. But I'm also like so grateful when I get it.
Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about that. You're pretty much the least entitled person I know. But a lot of people do feel entitled to support.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that a lot of people would be kind of feeling that way. Which, and sometimes people are entitled to support. Like sometimes there's been an explicit exchange and, they did their part. And so I think it's justified to feel entitled to like the other person following through with their part of the exchange, as long as it's been clearly communicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just felt grateful for everything because even though even with Wes, I generally, we have a many years track record of mutual support to each other, but I still kept being like, man, you're the best. I was like, I can't believe you're here. And then like, you made it happen. And it's just because I don't know, maybe that's just because of my old ways, but I don't know. I'm sure I feel entitled sometimes, but I just have nothing but gratitude for everything that happened here because I was still sort of shocked that everybody came through. And they're all just like, we're really worried about you. Okay, just get better, okay? And I was just like, I'm like, what?
Yeah, and I feel like you felt entitled to, better care from certain medical staff.
Yeah, I did feel entitled to that because I was paying for it.
Right, that was part of an explicit exchange. You're like, I'm hiring you to do a job. I feel entitled to you doing that job because you said you would.
Can I just have a Tylenol, please? Like that's a whole other thing.
But yeah, I think there's certain things that it makes sense to feel entitled to, and other things it doesn't. And mostly it's, how explicit, did people, what kind of promises did people make to you? And how explicit were they?
Yeah.
All right. Does anyone have anything else to say about support systems or anything else we talked about?
No.
I don't think so. I talk so much.
And we're all very proud of it.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
All right, Mary, how can people contact you or hire you if they like what they're hearing from you and want to hear more?
Well, I have a website which will be in the show notes, right?
Yes.
Yes. And I do one-on-one sex coaching, which I love doing, and it has a sliding scale. And please use it even if you can't afford it, because I like doing it. Sometimes people don't use the sliding scale even though they need it, and I wish they would just use it and get coaching because it's fun for me. I also do workshops and classes and stuff like that, and I've been sliding on the marketing lately, partially because I was really worried about Gina and I didn't quite get back in the habit. But they're out there and they're happening whether I posted about them or not. Yeah, so that's that.
All right, Gina, do you have an outro in you still?
Oh, sure. Well, this has been the fourth episode. Fourth episode of Sex and Sensibility. And I'm Gina talking to you alive, which is really all I can say. Thanks for tuning in. Again, I will say that if you are a paid subscriber, you are gonna get some great extra content. Maybe not from this one. We didn't do so much chit chatting.
We did some chit chatting.
Did we? I don't know what you're gonna pick, but anyway. We're very charming, and we're even more hilarious on the sort of bookends of this podcast that only our paid subscribers get to hear about. You could have already known I got a colonoscopy. So, I mean, if that's not content, I don't know what is. So we encourage that. But otherwise, just I hope you enjoy this one. I promise that in the next one, I will probably be a lot funnier. So
Oh no, I thought you were pretty funny in this one.
Was I funny? I don't know.
You're always funny.
No, well, thank you.
You know you can't talk about horrible things that happen to you without making jokes about it.
It's true. It's pretty absurd. That's what all is about. Anyway, so thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on next time.
Bye.
Bye.